One of the things that I find buyers, let alone first-time buyers, find really stressful is when you've found a home and you're really excited and now you've got to make an offer. And actually you've no idea whether the property is worth £200,000, £150,000 or £250,000. It doesn't have to be stressful. There is actually quite a formula that you can use, which doesn't cost you anything, to work out how much to offer on a property. And the other thing to remember is even if you do offer a certain amount, say £200,000, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you'll end up buying it for, because the lender will have an opinion on what that property is worth. And also you should always get a Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyor, a RICS surveyor, to come and independently value that property for you or from your behalf. So the offer price is just one of the first prices, and it can change throughout. When you are considering what offer to make, there are two things really that you need to think about. One is, what can you actually afford? I've found some places that might be up for 200,000, but I've actually only got, and I know that I'll max myself out at 180. In which case, I'm just really honest with the agent and say that's what I can actually afford. The other thing to bear in mind when you're making an offer is how desperate that person is to sell. If somebody hasn't found a property yet, they're not quite sure if they want to move, but they've put it up just to see what price they'll get for it, it'll be much harder if you make quite a low offer to have it accepted. However, if that seller is tied into a purchase, has found their dream home already, you might find that they're willing to negotiate that little bit more. So think about what you can afford and work out what the position of the seller is. Once you have a good idea of what you can afford and how desperate your seller is, there is a fantastic free facility available that really helps you understand what a fair offer would be. And these are called sold house prices. You can get them on loads of websites. There's Mouse Price, there's Rightmove do them, and you can actually find out this year what properties have sold for in that actual road. So if you found property 3 on Acacia Avenue, go onto the sold property price reports and go and find out if number 5 sold this year, and find the property that's as most similar to yours as number 3 and see what they're selling for, and then have a look to see, well, has that house got something different to the one that you have? It might have a bigger garden, for example. One might have a drive, yours might not. And so just work out. It really gives you a good idea of what the houses in that actual road are actually selling for today. Now, the second thing is, you might find on the house sold data that a property we're in 2011 today might not have sold since 2009. So you need to kind of know and find something that sold a little bit more recently than the last couple of years. And what you can do then is, if you go onto the property portals, we've mentioned a few like Zoopla, for example, or Find a Property, you can go onto those and there's a little box you can tick, which is called sold or sold subject to offer, for example. Now, you put in, say for example, you've made an offer on your road and you've got the postcode, put in the postcode of your property, put in a search for 1/4 of a mile or half a mile around your property, and then make sure that you put in the right number of bedrooms and you put in the price that your property is going to be marketed at, and tick that little box that says sold or sold subject to offer. What that will then give you is a whole list of properties that have recently sold in your area. Now, the prices that they've sold for won't necessarily appear on the sold property data, because it can take 3 to 6 months for that to happen. What it will do, though, is it'll tell you which agent has sold that property. Most agents are really good. If you go into them and say, look, I've seen a similar property on that road, I'm keen to make an offer, but I need a little bit of guidance on the price. I see you've got a property that you've recently sold, and you want to know a little bit more. Was the property might have been up for 150,000? Did they get a price near that offer? Maybe 140. And you'll get a bit more of an idea of a recent sold property that was very similar to the one you're buying. Bear in mind, though, an estate agent is not legally allowed to tell you how much a property is sold until it appears on those reports. So you have to engage with them and you have to say, did it sell near the asking price, over the asking price, a long way from the asking price, to try and get a bit of an idea of how much to offer. And finally, when you do make that offer, it's really important that you do it subject to a RICS survey. That's a Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors survey. These are professional people who work on your behalf to make sure that they value that property for you. And they don't just value the property based on the area it's in, they value it based on its condition as well. So make sure the offer is made subject to a RICS survey, and then if we find out there's something wrong with the property that might take several £1,000s to fix, you're able to lower your offer into the future. If you have any problems at all making an offer, you're not quite sure what to do, we've got lots of articles around it about making an offer. Alternatively, just email us and we'll find a way to help you.